What's going on, guys? In today's video I'm going to be assembling this HPI 5.9 motor. I've already went ahead and cleaned it up, so I'm just going to show you what I would do when I assemble my engines. You guys can do whatever you want, but this is just kind of like my process that I've gone through. Just putting some oil on the crankshaft here. This is just like a 50-50 mix of Lucas oil and ATF fluid. I found these nice little drip bottles at Michael's Arts and Crafts store, so those work really good. Like I said, I've already went ahead and cleaned up this engine, and I cleaned the bearings really well. Thankfully, they were in decent shape. Alright, got the crankshaft in. Let's get this piston in here. It's got some decent pinch on it. I'm gonna put some oil in here and on the inside of there. You always want to make sure you're working on a clean surface, or at least try to. And the cutout side goes towards the carburetor. Okay, we got the piston in. Now I'm going to bring the piston down a little bit. Just going to install the sleeve now. Put some oil on that. Oh, I see. It shows the double marking. See, it shows a double dot there on the sleeve. The button head actually has a double dot as well, so that means that the sleeve goes to the back, and also the cap goes to the back. So we're gonna line up this slit with the pin on the head of the block here. There we go. Now I'm gonna gently move the piston and try and feed it into the sleeve. There, now I've got the piston in the sleeve. We can push the sleeve down some more. You wanna make sure you line up the slot on the piston with the pin on the head. See there how it's not lined up? That's what you wanna do there. Have it all lined up. Everything seems to be moving okay. I also like to drop a little bit of oil down in the crankshaft here. Oil that up a bit. It's just looking pretty good. Okay, now that you've got the sleeve in and the piston all back in there, you could probably go ahead and put the cap on. And the two dots face the rear. Okay. Then you go ahead and put your cooling head on. And there's holes in the cooling head as well. So you want to make sure the air passes through the cooling head. Just take note of which way you're putting it on. And start with one screw. Start the threads. Get it threaded in a bit. Yeah, get it threaded in a bit. Then start on the next one, the opposite one, crisscross pattern. Make sure that one's screwed in a bit. Now go on the next one. Screw that one in a little bit. Go on the opposite one of that. Okay, now when you feel the threads are starting to get close to the end, I like to just, make sure everything's centered up and good. Go all the way to the end of the thread and that's it, and stop. Make sure it's very even all the way around, and you do crisscross pattern. Gently tighten one at a time. Don't tighten one more than the other. Just tighten one at a time. Easy, easy. Then when you feel like you need to get a little bit more torque on it, you can pick the engine up and give it like a little crank on each one. Just a gentle torque down. See? Crisscross pattern. You don't have to go too crazy, but make sure it's snug. There we go. That's all torqued down. Now we've got the cooling head on, piston and sleeve in with the crankshaft. Now I think it's time to install the back plate and the one-way bearing. Also, I realized that a lot of you that follow my channel already are probably already experts on doing this type of thing, but just doing it for those guys who are kind of new to the nitro. If you're following my channel, you know, this is for you guys. I'm just going to put a little bit of oil on this O-ring seal on the back plate here. When you take these engines apart, make sure that you pay attention to how they come apart and what pieces go where. I mean, if you somehow mess it up, you could probably look up the exploded views online, but it's always better just to take pictures of your own. So that little washer goes on the back there. Now when we put the back plate on, the side that's cut right here as the cutout goes towards the top, because when the piston comes down, it needs clearance. So that's going to go right there. It's going to make sure everything's lined up here. You also want to do a crisscross pattern with this. Don't just crank down one screw and then start on the next one. Get them all threaded in nicely, even, and then torque them down, crisscross. You can put the starter shaft in as well. Now we're going to put the roto start back on. Got the roto start all bolted on. All right, this is looking pretty good. We can now proceed to put the collet back on and the flywheel nut. And we're going to tighten down the flywheel now. I like to crank it pretty good, but nothing crazy. This thing's going to be a beast. I'm actually going to double check the glow plug, just tighten that down a bit. Okay, now we're coming to the end. This is probably my least favorite part about the whole job, is putting the clutch shoes back on the flywheel. You have to make sure that spring locks into here. When I took this engine apart, the guy had the clutch shoes on backwards. He had them this way, so the springs would be like bending down. The correct way is actually like this. See how the spring will line up perfectly once it sits in? Definitely be careful with assembling the clutch. Shoes on. Looks pretty good. One shim after the nut. Then the flywheel. Make sure everything spins freely. Looks good. Now I have this bigger shim, which it seems like it leaves a little bit of space. So I'm going to put a small shim behind that one. Okay, see that, guys? Basically flush on the end there. Maybe just a little bit of room. Now I'm going to find a screw that fits on the end of this. Okay, guys, all assembled back together. Run smooth. The next thing to do is install the carburetor, but I need to do a little bit of work on the carb, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. We'll put this motor back in the truck and fire it up and see how it runs. Okay, we got the carb all back together.
I never fucked anybody over.
Now I'm going to install it back on the truck. A little bit of oil just all around the O-ring here.
All I have in this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. Do you understand?
Seems pretty good.
That piece of shit up there,
Okay,
I never liked him. I never trusted him. For all I know, he had me set up and had my friend Angel Fernandez killed.
We're done.
Don't worry about what the fuck he be doing.
Alright guys, now I'm going to install it back in the
DJ
truck.
Smokey.
And we're going to fire it up and see how it runs. All set guys, we're going to go fire it up. Alright guys, the engine test was a success. It seemed to be running pretty good. I don't have a receiver in this truck, so I wasn't able to take it out for an actual test drive, but I'll probably get a few Spectrum receivers for my other cars that don't have them. Thanks for checking out my video guys, and thanks to all the new subscribers and anyone who comments and likes and supports the channel. Guys, have a great day. I'll see you on the next video.